Hi, it's Mike DelSignore, Massachusetts OUI lawyer. In today's video, I want to talk about what happens if you're arrested for OUI and the case is going to be heard in the Clinton District Court. I've had many cases in Clinton over the years, and I want to explain to you that first, when you get arrested for OUI, doesn't mean they're going to convict you. So the difference between being arrested and proof beyond a reasonable doubt is a vast difference. An officer only needs probable cause to yank you off the road, to arrest you and make you go through the court process. But to prove the case beyond a reasonable doubt, they need the highest degree of certainty. So many people get arrested, but I've had many clients found not guilty. So let me explain some of the common questions people ask. So it's a first offense or even a second, it's a misdemeanor. It's only a felony if someone's injured or if it's a third offense. So you're looking at a misdemeanor offense. If you resolve the case, if you admit to an OUI, you generally be on probation for a year, have to do a 24D alcohol education program. If you go to trial and lose, same thing. Basically, you're going to get probation and have to do a program. Generally speaking, it would be very, very rare. People don't get jail time on first OUIs. So I don't want you to be worried about things that are highly unlikely to happen. So realistically, if you went to trial and lose, the punishment is it's a guilty finding versus a quaff, but probably the same terms and conditions of probation. So that's the potential plea. It's a continuance without a finding. Immediately, your license, if you failed the breath test, is suspended for 30 days, 6 months if you refused. So after 30 days, you can get back on the road, full license back, while we investigate, try to get the breath test excluded from evidence, review all the evidence, and determine what the best decision for you on the case is. Now, if you refused, you are going to be without your license for a longer period of time, but you have a stronger case at trial. I recently won a case where a client refused a breath test. I was able to get it to trial pretty quick. So she had a trial date within 4 months, was able to get her license back maybe a month or 6 weeks prior to the 6 months. So Clinton is a court where the judge is efficient. He moves cases, and if you could move it, get a quick trial date, sometimes you can get your license back a month or two before the 6 months expires. You might have read in the paperwork that you can appeal the refusal suspension to the RMV. I don't recommend that because the RMV is going to take out an immediate threat suspension. If they do that, you're going to be suspended longer than 6 months. So we covered the license loss. What a quaff is, what's the court process like? So the court process, first court date, you're going to enter a not guilty plea, get a further date to come back for what they call pre-trial. At the pre-trial, we'll get additional evidence for you to evaluate. So you get video, things like that. We'll go over the case and then determine what's the best decision for you, whether to take it to trial or work out a resolution. And I consider everything. I consider your background, your family, what your goals, desires are, and give you my thoughts on, can we win this case? Because I've been doing this for 20 years. I've cross-examined a lot of police officers. I know how the evidence is likely to come in at trial. So don't assume if you read the report and you think, oh, this sounds terrible, that's how the evidence is going to come in at trial. The field sobriety tests, when you read the report, you're going to think, you did horrible. But when I read it, I'm going to be able to explain all the things the officer missed, what I could get the officer to say during cross-examination, and all the signs that are not in the report that are inconsistent with impairment. Because police officers, they only write the negative details in the report. They don't put what you did well and what signs are inconsistent with their opinion. So, and if you took a breath test, don't assume you can't win the case. There are ways to get a breath test excluded from evidence. So be patient, make sure you understand your rights, make sure you have a realistic impression of how the case will go. Don't get your license back right away if you failed the breath test. Request a hearing almost immediately because there's a wait with the RMV. If you refused a breath test, you can get back on the road, but you have to admit to the OUI offense. So hopefully you'll be able to go that 3 or 4 months without driving and be found not guilty. That's always my goal, is to have my clients avoid an OUI conviction. But you can always call, text anytime. My name's Mike DelSignore, 781-686-5924. I'll go over the report and tell you what I think the best decision for you on your cases. I've done a lot of cases in Clinton District Court. I've handled OUIs and helped people for over 20 years with OUI offenses, so I can definitely help you with your case. And if you do have any alcohol problems, sometimes you can get treatment help and it's never going to negatively impact the case. I bet what's going to happen, the people around you are going to appreciate that. So don't ever assume you can't get treatment because they're going to assume you're guilty. That's common misunderstanding. Treatment never is a negative when you're in court. And if you have a second or third offense, it's recommended. And if you have a first offense where there's an accident and there's immediate threat suspension, you're going to want to get treatment to get your license back at the RMV. So I'm here to help. Reach out, call, text anytime at 781-686-5924. Mike DelSignore. My passion's helping people make the best decisions for themselves when charged with OUI.